Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the GCOR show, where today we're just going to be talking about the hot takes from the most recent Grand Prix at Albert Park, Australia. To start off with, I guess we have to start off with Coward, really. Coward's pace. As predicted in the pre-season video, we did think he was going to be up at the top, battling for race wins, battling for the big points, battling for the championship as well. But this weekend we saw, I'm going to say a Coward we haven't seen up to this point. Obviously, we've seen some sparks of it, here and there, especially last season. But this is the first time, not only Coward, but anyone has ever got the weekend sweep in this era of GCOR. Obviously, GCOR GP managed to get, I think it was like 6 or 7 weekend sweeps, but obviously that was in the GT Sport era, and as we already know, this era is much harder than the GT Sport era, with all respects to everyone who raced in the GT Sport era. Also, I think it was just his race management, and when he had the lead in the sprint race, you always felt like he was going to convert that to what was going to be his first win in 2 generations, and he managed to even convert his sprint race win to his first feature race win since a while back on F1 2021, around a year ago. So I think obviously that has to be taken, I wouldn't say with a pinch of salt, but I think that just shows everyone what Coward is capable of, and on his day, he's going to be, I wouldn't say unbeatable, but I'd say he's going to be very tricky to beat him. Obviously, there was a little bit of controversy between him and Dino Bambino. Personally, I think that it was a racing incident, I'll be honest. I think when Coward made the overtake round the outside, I'll see if I can drop the video clip whilst editing this. Whilst Coward goes round the outside, he leaves him room. You can see he doesn't, it's not like he clips the apex, he actually leaves him a decent chunk of space, and I think Bambino just understeered a little bit into him. I think if both Bambino and Coward crash, I think then it's a question. First of all, did Coward leave Bambino enough room? And if that answer is yes, like in this situation, the next question is then, does Bambino receive a penalty, if they both end up spinning? But obviously, Bambino, he ended up spinning, Coward unharmed, went on to win the race to GCOR GP by 3 seconds. Bambino ended up finishing P3, which is still, a decent result. Obviously, for Bambino standards, he only expects the best of the best, and, he's reigning world champion. Why shouldn't he? He's been the face of GCR for the last 2 seasons, so I do see why he was slightly frustrated, but at the end of the day, I think, Bambino, he's smart, he'll get over this, and, well, he already has his eyes on China, What's interesting, I think there's going to be a little bit of a rivalry from now on between Coward and Dino Bambino, which is going to be very spicy going into the next races, and even the rest of the season, between those two. The next topic I want to pick up on is actually GCOR GP75's comeback drive. What a drive that was from Chick. I mean, he started last after DNFing in the sprint race, his second DNF in this generation. His other one came at Silverstone in that sprint race. But what a drive from last place to finish P2 with half a floor. It was sensational. I think it was it lap 4, lap 5? He was running P9, P10, right at the back of the field. But by the time the race ended, he managed to score a brilliant podium, a brilliant P2. I think obviously he got a little bit lucky with, especially the second safety car, because I don't know whether he would have been able to go on to stay on the hards the whole entire race, as he had planned to. But obviously, at the end of the day, you got to be there to pick up the points. And the thing is, if you're going to be battling for the championship, it's only normal, it's only natural for you to have a couple bad races. It's what you do with those couple bad races, whether you just allow the points to be dropped, or whether you know, it's a damage limitation and you manage to, you know, salvage something. And I think that's what Chick did quite well, actually. He managed to salvage a brilliant P2 halfway through the race. If you were to tell me that he'd get P5, I would have bitten your arm off. But yeah, what a result that was. I think, as he said, his greatest P2 of his career. So that's interesting. Another storyline which must be taken, I think, is how many drivers are in like how many drivers raced last time out. We had, I think it was 14, 15 drivers, you know, which was crazy. So I think definitely there is going to be a lot more action, and drivers now are going to have to stay at the top of the game with that many drivers. You know, you're always going to have to be alert, and there's always going to be action, as we saw at lap 1 with the incident between Starworld and Foop. Also, congratulations to Starworld on his debut, you know, in the sprint race. I know it's just a sprint race podium, but a podium's a podium at the end of the day. In GCOR terms, we still count that as a podium. So that was, you know, a brilliant job for Starworld on his debut. The incident between him and Foop, again, it's similar to the one with Bambino and Coward. I think, obviously, it's a tricky one, but I think if anyone's to blame, I think it would be Foop. I think Starworld left Foop enough room. Obviously, when it's at the race start, you know, things can be taken with a pinch of salt. But I think Foop had enough room to make the corner. I think he went in too hot and then eventually just got annihilated and eaten up by the whole field. I think that's unlucky because, you know, first two races, the feature race at Japan and the sprint race at Australia, Foop managed to get two podiums, actually, two third places, and that, you know, he was sitting pretty in third actually for, well, before the feature race at Australia. So it was looking good for him, but I think Foop, he'll be able to bounce back. Midget Matt as well, he struggled a little bit this weekend. I think he'll be able to bounce back, but really, just looking forward to China, really. Some some takes, some things I just take out of this weekend is that Coward on his day, you know, he's, you know, the best of the best. He's up there with Dino Bambino and even Chicona 75 on his day. I think this championship's going to be an interesting one. So I hope that you guys can join me there at China. Hope to see you there. Thank you and goodbye.